Hello everybody, you are watching Learn English with Dr. Saloni Nandan. Today I am going to tell you some important idioms and phrases that you can use in your daily conversation as well as to improve your writing skills. In this video, I am also going to tell you about the origin of these idioms. So I am very sure this whole video is going to be very interesting. Apart from telling the meaning and the sentence of the idiom, I am going to tell you how it originated. इस idiom या phrase का ओरिजिन कहाँ से हुआ, क्यों हुआ और कैसे हुआ, ये भी मैं आपको इस वीडियो में हिंदी और इंग्लिश में बताने वाली हूँ. सो वीडियो को अंत तक ज़रूर देखिएगा. अगर आप अच्छे सुंदर idioms और phrases याद करना चाहते हैं, सीखना चाहते हैं, जो आप अपनी राइटिंग स्किल्स को अच्छा करने के लिए, कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स को अच्छा करने के लिए यूज़ कर सकते हैं. The first idiom that I am going to tell you today is a hue and cry, which means a protest, complaint, a noisy expression of public anger or disapproval, सार्वजनिक क्रोध या अस्वीकृति की अभिव्यक्ति. Until the 19th century, hue and cry was the legal name for the cries of someone who had been robbed and who was calling for others to help. 19वीं शताब्दी तक ह्यू एंड क्राई एक कानूनी नाम था जब कोई चोरों से लुट जाने पर जोर जोर से रोते हुए दूसरों से मदद की गुहार लगा रहा हो. Let's look at the sentence. Just as the examination ended, I heard a hue and cry outside the examination hall. Next idiom, a blessing in disguise. A misfortune which turns out to have advantages. An unfortunate event that later leads to an advantageous situation. एक दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण घटना जो बाद में एक लाभप्रद स्थिति की ओर ले जाती है. Let's look at the sentence. The lockdown in 2020 proved to be a blessing in disguise. It gave me lots of time to spend with my family. Next idiom, all in all, whole and soul, most important, सबसे महत्वपूर्ण. Let's look at the sentence. The principal is responsible for all in all decisions of the school. Next idiom, as busy as a bee. To be very busy, to be very active. It is quite easy to determine the origin of this simile. Bees are very hard-working creatures and can always be seen buzzing around. They collect pollen and nectar in order to pollinate plants and flowers. It is clear that the observation was made early on and that people were later compared to these industrious creatures. The phrase as busy as bee dates back to at least the 1300s. An example can be found in the Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. इस उपमा की उत्पत्ति as busy as a bee उपमा की उत्पत्ति को निर्धारित करना काफ़ी आसान है. मधुमक्खियाँ बहुत मेहनती जीव हैं और उन्हें हमेशा से ही मेहनत करते हुए देखा जा सकता है. वे पौधों और फूलों को परागित करने के लिए पराग और अमृत एकत्रित करती हैं. यह स्पष्ट है कि अवलोकन जल्दी किया गया था और लोगों को बाद में इन मेहनती प्राणियों की तुलना में as busy as bee कहा गया. वाक्यांश as busy as bee कम से कम 1300 की दशक का है. एक उदाहरण जेफरी चॉसर द्वारा कैंटरबरी की कहानियों में पाया जा सकता है. At the 11th hour, at the very last moment, आखिरी समय पर. Many say that this idiom originated from the Bible, a very unlikely source. The first mention of the 11th hour can be found in the book of Matthew chapter 20 verse 9. There was an allusion to the story of the laborers who came at the 11th hour of a 12-hour working day and received the same payment as those who had come earlier and had been working all day. Following from that, This phrase has been used to refer to the very last moment before an event or deadline. कई लोग कहते हैं कि इस मुहावरे की उत्पत्ति बाइबल से हुई है। 11वें घंटे का उल्लेख मैथ्यू की पुस्तक के अध्याय 20 कविता 9 में पाया जाता है। मजदूरों की कहानी के लिए यह प्रयोग हुआ था जब 12 घंटे के काम करने वाले दिन के 11वें घंटे पर आने वाले मजदूरों को वही भुगतान प्राप्त हुआ जो पहले आए और पूरे दिन काम कर रहे मजदूरों को प्राप्त हुआ था। उसके बाद इस वाक्यांश का उपयोग किसी घटना या समय सीमा से पहले अंतिम क्षण के लिए किया जाता है। Let's look at the sentence. He always prepares at the 11th hour for his preparations. Next idiom, at the spur of the moment, at once, turant, without deliberation, on a sudden impulse. Sentence, we had not planned for a party. The decision was taken at the spur of the moment. Next idiom, beat about the bush, to talk irrelevantly, अप्रासंगिक बातें करना, इधर उधर की बातें करना. The origin of this phrase lies in medieval hunting. During bird hunts, some participants would rouse the birds by beating the bushes so that the others could hunt them. इस वाक्यांश की उत्पत्ति मध्य युगीन शिकार से है। पक्षी के शिकार के दौरान कुछ प्रतियोगिता में भाग लेने वाले व्यक्ति पक्षियों को झाड़ियों से पीटते थे ताकि दूसरे उन्हें शिकार कर सकें। Sentence, don't beat about the bush, come to the matter straight. Next idiom, born with a silver spoon. Born in wealthy and luxury. जो अमीरी में पैदा हुआ हो। Rahul Gandhi was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Next idiom, by hook or by crook, which means by any means, by fair means or foul, किसी भी तरह से, निष्पक्ष तरीके से या बेईमानी से. Sentence, they always win the game by hook or by crook. Next idiom, by leaps and bounds, to grow or make a lot of progress very quickly, बहुत जल्दी प्रगति करना या बढ़ना. Sentence, India is making progress by leaps and bounds. Next idiom, child's play, something very easy to do or perform, कुछ ऐसा जो करना बहुत आसान हो. It is easy to assume that a game that is suitable for children to play will be simple for people of superior intellect or people who are intelligent. Thus, in some instances, it is used by someone to make others feel inferior, to make fun of. Someone who is intelligent will use this word. यह मान लेना कि एक ऐसा खेल जो बच्चों के खेलने के लिए उपयुक्त है, सरल है, वह श्रेष्ठ बुद्धि के लोगों के लिए सरल होगा. इस प्रकार कुछ उदाहरणों में इसका उपयोग कोई व्यक्ति दूसरों को हीन महसूस कराने के लिए करते हैं. Next idiom, fleet of foot, which means quick in action, fast, कार्यवाही में तेज. Next idiom, hat trick, a series of 3 achievements, one after another, especially in sports. विशेष रूप से खेल में एक के बाद एक 3 उपलब्धियों की श्रृंखला. Indian cricket team can achieve hat trick if they perform well. Next idiom, heaven knows, having no idea, used to emphasize that one does not know something. इस बात पर जोर देना कि किसी को कुछ पता नहीं है, भगवान जाने. Sentence, heaven only knows when the terrorism will end. Himalayan task, which means huge task, difficult work, बहुत बड़ा काम, मुश्किल काम. Sentence, it is a Himalayan task to get the work done by him. Next idiom, ifs and buts. Absolutely no excuses, without doubt. बिल्कुल कोई बहाना नहीं बिना किसी संदेह के. The sentence is, the officer ordered the staff, you'd better be there tomorrow, and no ifs and buts about it. In a nutshell, which means briefly and precisely, संक्षेप में. Around the 1st century AD, in his text titled Pliny's Natural History, Pliny tells a tale of how his friend Cicero told him that he saw a copy of Homer's famous poem Iliad being made in a miniature form so that the whole poem written on a parchment can fit into the shell of a walnut. Therefore, the phrase in a nutshell came to be used to refer to reducing something so large to being simple and brief. एक शताब्दी ईस्वी के आसपास प्लिनीज नेचुरल हिस्ट्री नामक अपने पाठ में प्लिनी ने अपने दोस्त की कहानी बताई कि कैसे सिसरो ने उसे बताया कि होमर की प्रसिद्ध कविता इलियड की एक प्रति एक लघु रूप से बनाई जा रही है ताकि पूरी कविता जो चर्मपत्र पर लिखी गई है एक अखरोट के खोल में फिट हो सकती है. इसलिए वाक्यांश इन अ नटशेल का उपयोग कुछ बड़े काम को सरल और संक्षिप्त रूप से प्रस्तुत करने को कहा जाता है. नेक्स्ट इडियम, कीप इट अप, मीन्स टू कंटिन्यू अ गुड परफॉर्मेंस, एक अच्छा प्रदर्शन जारी रखना. सेंटेंस, when my son got good marks in his exams, I told him to keep it up. Our next idiom is not be on speaking terms, means not on good terms, refusing to talk to someone, किसी से बात करने से इनकार करना. Sentence is, she is not on speaking terms with her neighbor. Next idiom, not one's cup of tea, मेरे बस की बात नहीं है. Do you know, apart from water, tea is the most consumed beverage in the world? There are various varieties of the beverage and everyone has a cup of tea that they enjoy more than others. In the late 1800s, the British started using the phrase my cup of tea to indicate something that they enjoyed drinking. In the 1920s, they added the phrase not my cup of tea to mean the opposite. आप क्या आप जानते हैं कि पानी के अलावा चाय दुनिया में सबसे अधिक पीने वाला पेय पदार्थ है? चाय की विभिन्न किस्में हैं और हर किसी को एक कप चाय दूसरों की तुलना में अधिक पसंद है और अधिक आनंद देती है. 1800 के अंत में अंग्रेजों ने माय कप ऑफ टी वाक्यांश का उपयोग करना शुरू कर दिया ताकि वे बता सकें जो उन्हें अच्छा लगता है पीना. 1920 के दशक में उन्होंने इसको विपरीत अर्थ देने के लिए नॉट वंस कप ऑफ टी वाक्यांश जोड़ा. You enjoying learning these idioms? If yes, then let's continue. Now and then, which means occasionally, sometimes, kabhi kabhi. Sentence, I visit temple now and then. Next idiom, on the top of the world, means feeling very happy, ecstatic, अद्भुत लग रहा हो, बहुत खुश. Sentence, since my friend scored well in her exams, he is on top of the world. Next idiom, sailing in the same boat, means same situation, एक ही परिस्थिति में होना. The phrase originated in the mid-1800s and was used mainly by the Greeks to refer to the risks faced by the passengers in a small boat at sea. Another interesting but probably incorrect theory about the origin of the phrase sailing on the same boat refers to the sinking of the ship Titanic in 1912. Yes, Titanic, when people from all classes were stuck in the same situation when the ship was sinking. यह वाक्यांश सेलिंग इन द सेम बोट 1800 के दशक में उत्पन्न हुआ था और इसका उपयोग मुख्य रूप से यूनानियों द्वारा समुद्र में एक छोटी नाव में यात्रियों को होने वाली जोखिम और परेशानियों का एक उल्लेख करने के लिए किया गया था। वाक्यांश की उत्पत्ति के बारे में एक और दिलचस्प लेकिन शायद गलत सिद्धांत 1912 में टाइटैनिक जहाज के डूबने को संदर्भित करता है, जब जहाज डूबने पर सभी वर्गों के लोग एक ही स्थिति में फंस गए थे। नेक्स्ट इडियम, द डेविल्स एडवोकेट। इट मीन्स वन हु प्रेजेंट्स अ काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट, जो एक काउंटर तर्क प्रस्तुत करता है। I am sick of you playing devil's advocate with everything I say, is the sentence for this idiom. Do you know that during the canonization process of the Roman Catholic Church, an official was appointed to argue against declaring that a person who has died was a saint? So what was the purpose of that person? He had to say that the person who had died, he was not a saint, but he was a demon. He was a devil. This is done to properly justify the merits of the candidate. This official was known as the devil's advocate. रोमन कैथोलिक चर्च की प्रक्रिया के दौरान एक अधिकारी को यह घोषित करने के लिए नियुक्त किया जाता था कि वह एक व्यक्ति जो मर गया है उसे एक संत घोषित ना करे, एक शैतान घोषित करे। इस अधिकारी को शैतान के वकील के रूप में जाना जाता था। The other side of the coin, the opposite aspect, the opposite view, विपरीत पहलू। Sentence, the other side of the coin is that less working hours will get you less income. Next idiom, to abide by. It means to follow especially a rule. किसी बात का पालन करना, आमतौर पर एक नियम का। Sentence, we must abide by the traffic rules. To break down, to collapse, to fall completely, या हिम्मत हारना, ढहना। Sentence, his car broke down, his house broke down. Next idiom, to break out. Start suddenly or violently, अचानक या हिंसक रूप से शुरू होना। Sentence, a war broke out between two countries. To bring up means to talk about something, किसी बात के बारे में कहना। The phrase to bring up was first used in the 1400s to describe raising a child. In 1719, Daniel Defoe used the term to describe becoming ill in his best-selling novel Robinson Crusoe. It was later modified in the 1800s to include introducing a topic into the conversation. This is typically used to describe something that people would prefer not to discuss. वाक्यांश to bring up का पहली बार 1400 के दशक में एक बच्चे को बड़ा करने के संदर्भ में उपयोग किया गया था। 1719 में डैनियल डेफो ने अपने सबसे ज्यादा बिकने वाले उपन्यास रॉबिन्सन क्रूसो में बीमार होने का वर्णन करने के लिए टू ब्रिंग अप जैसे वाक्यांश का इस्तेमाल किया। बाद में इसे 1800 के दशक में संशोधित किया गया था और बातचीत में किसी विषय को शामिल करने के लिए इसे उपयोग किया जाने लगा। यह आमतौर पर उस बात के लिए उपयोग किया जाता है जो लोग चर्चा करना पसंद नहीं करते। सेंटेंस, why would you bring up the past? Next idiom, to call off, to cancel, to postpone, रद्द करना, टालना। Sentence, the meeting was called off just before it was to start. Next idiom that I am going to tell you is to call on. It means to make a short visit. किसी के पास थोड़ी देर के लिए जाना। Sentence, our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi called on the President of Japan on his visit to the country. Next idiom, to carry over, to continue or to keep up the work started by others. किसी के द्वारा शुरू किए गए काम को जारी रखना. Sentence, she carried over her father's business after his death. To carry on means to continue with the task until completion. The first use of the phrase was recorded in terms of luggage and in 1950 to 55, probably because back then the passengers were supposed to literally carry their luggage themselves into the aircraft. इस वाक्यांश टू कैरी ऑन का पहली बार उपयोग 1950 to 55 के दशक में किया गया था, क्योंकि शायद तब यात्रियों को विमान में स्वयं अपना सामान ले जाना पड़ता था. सेंटेंस, यू शुड कैरी ऑन योर लगेज योरसेल्फ. नेक्स्ट इडियम, टू केयर फॉर. इट मीन्स टू हेल्प समवन, किसी की मदद करना. सेंटेंस, वी शुड टीच आवर चिल्ड्रन टू केयर फॉर एल्डरली पीपल. Idiom, to cure off, to heal someone of something, किसी का कुछ ठीक करने के लिए मदद करना, किसी के घाव भरना. Sentence, I hope that the doctor prescribes something to cure him of his chronic disease. Next idiom, to drop in, means to visit someone casually or unexpectedly. आकस्मिक रूप से या अप्रत्याशित रूप से किसी के यहाँ जाना. Sentence, drop in any time, I'll be home all day. To get along with, to have a friendly, pleasant or amicable relationship with someone. किसी के साथ दोस्ताना, सुखद या सौहार्दपूर्ण संबंध रखना. Sentence, I always get along with my friend Peenal. I think she's very nice. Next idiom, to give up, abandon, त्यागना, छोड़ना. Sentence, the doctor advised him to give up sweets and oily food. To keep one's eye on means to keep a watch on something or someone closely. किसी चीज या किसी व्यक्ति पर कड़ी नजर रखना. Sentence, the cops always keep an eye on the troublemakers of the city to ensure the safety of the people living in the city. Next idiom, to lay down one's life. It means to sacrifice, बलिदान करना, त्याग करना, कुर्बान करना. Sentence, Rani Lakshmibai had laid down her life to get independence from British rule. To lead the way means go first along a route to show someone the way. किसी को रास्ता दिखाने के लिए पहले मार्ग पर जाना. Sentence, whenever we go for a walk, my dog leads the way and I follow him. Next idiom, to look into, means to investigate, जांच करना. The senior police officer is looking into the robbery case of two builders. To make up means to compensate, क्षति पूर्ण करना. Sentence, your hard work can make up for the lack of intelligence. Next idiom, to meddle with, means to interfere with, हस्तक्षेप करना. Sentence, please don't meddle with my affairs. Next idiom, to pass away, means to die, निधन होना. Most people think this phrase is used to soften the news of someone dying, but this is not the case. In 15th century England, people believed that when someone died, they were still on earth until after the funeral rites have been done. They believed that until then, the dead could still hear and see all that is happening. So it was only after the funeral rites that the person passes away. So this is the origin of the phrase. ज़्यादातर लोगों को लगता है कि to pass away का उपयोग किसी के मरने की खबर को कम दुखद तरीके से बताने के लिए किया जाता है, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है. 15वीं सदी में इंग्लैंड के लोगों का मानना था कि जब किसी की मृत्यु होती है तो अंतिम संस्कार होने तक वे धरती पर रहते हैं। उनका मानना था कि जब तक मृत सब कुछ सुन और देख सकते हैं, अंत्येष्टि संस्कार के बाद ही वह व्यक्ति गुजरा गया ऐसा माना जाता है। इसीलिए इस वाक्यांश टू पास अवे का इस्तेमाल होता था और इसका मूल है सेंटेंस माय फ्रेंड्स फादर पास्ड अवे येस्टरडे। नेक्स्ट इडियम टू पुट ऑफ। इट मीन्स टू पोस्टपोन, टालना, मुलतवी करना। Sentence he can't put off attending to office work even if it causes lot of tension. Next idiom that I am going to discuss today is to put up with. It means to endure, सहना. Sentence she found it difficult to put up with her neighbors. Next idiom to set off means to start, शुरू करना. Sentence we will set off from our house at 7:30 in the morning for Mumbai. To stand by means to support, समर्थन करना, सहारा देना. We should stand by one another in the difficult times. Next idiom to call for means require, आकांक्षा करना, आवश्यकता होना. Your bad results in the exam call for harder work from your side. I hope you found the video interesting. Thanks for watching the video. I hope through this video you learned some important idioms and phrases and also their meanings, their origin and their sentences. If you like the video, do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video and share it.